So when you're finding the volume of either the cone or the pyramid, they're the same formula. The only difference is for the cone, I want to make it a little bit more special. Okay? So for the volume of these things, again, this would be like how much I'm going to fill them. So for instance, if you made waffle cones at Cold Stone or Dairy Queen or wherever your favorite ice cream is sold, it'd be how much could you put inside of it, right? Okay, same with the pyramid. So for the volume formula for both of these, they're given a couple different ways, but there's one way that I like better just because of the fact that I think it's easier. And a lot of times what happens is when you guys start seeing fractions, you start to cringe, even though fractions aren't the worst thing in the world. But for a pyramid, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take big B times H, and then I'm going to divide it all by 3. Now, what does big B stand for? Right, area of the base. So in this this thing that I have up here, that would be a square-based one, right? So I'd find the area of a square. If I had this shape, it'd be the area of this rectangle, right? So length times width. Okay, now keep in mind, remember, if you use base times height for the area of the base, that the height is different. The height would be represented by those rods that were staying straight up in the middle. Not on the side, they're straight down the middle. Okay, so if I drew you a pyramid that had a square base on it, so that's my pyramid. The height would go right from the top down to the center in the middle. Okay, it'd run right through the middle. That's what the height would be, or where the height would be. Okay, that's H in that particular problem. Okay, is everybody okay with that? Now with a cone, it's the same formula. The only difference is I want to make it a little bit more user-friendly. In a cone, we would still use, like I said, big B times H divided by 3. But what's so special about the base of a cone? What shape is the base of a cone?
Circle.
Right. So what's the circle formula?
4
pi r squared. H divided by 3. So I'm making it a little more user-friendly for that, because on a cone, there isn't a different kind of base. You know, for the pyramids, we could have, here's a rectangle-based one, right? Here's a square-based one. But then we could also have pentagon, hexagon, octagon, all those other kind of bases like we had on some of those other worksheets. With a cone, you only have one. So again, you have your shape, but your height would be straight down from the center to the middle. That would be your height. Okay? So for these two particular pieces, these are the formulas we're going to use today. Okay? So just to kind of give you an example, let's say that I have this. Sam, give me a number. 12. Lily. Am I pronouncing that right? No, Lila. Lila, right? What is a number? 4. 4? Okay. Now, something I want to make sure you guys are aware of, when I did that one there, did I give you the radius or did I give you something different? Something different. What did I give you? The diameter, all the way across. So in our formula, we don't have that in there. So we need the radius. How do I find the radius if I give you the diameter?
Split it in 2.
Split it in half. So what's half of 2?
2.
I mean, what's half of 4? Good Lord. Must be Monday. Or any day for that matter. So there's my formula we're going to use for this one. So if I plug everything in, I'm assuming most of you are using 3.14 for pi, or you're using the pi button on your calculator. What's the radius that you just told me? 2 squared. What's the height? 12. And I'm going to divide the whole thing by 3. And from here, now it just becomes me plugging all that into a calculator and seeing what comes out. So when I would do that, one of the things that I would do is I'd take 3.14 times 2 squared, or 2 times 2, times 12, divide it all by 3. Anybody know the number? 50 point what? 0.24. And then depending on the measurement that we had, let's say it was in feet, it'd be feet cubed, right? Because we are a volume. Okay, everybody okay with that? Cones, they're pretty self-explanatory. It's the pyramid that gets you in a little bit of trouble. So if I were to give you something like this, and let's say this is 5, this is 3, and that's 8, which is kind of hard to see, but that's an 8. Okay? So you're trying to figure out what is the volume of this pyramid. What kind of base is that sitting on? Rectangle. How'd you know it was a rectangle? Not all sides are the same. The other thing that I didn't put in there that is on the worksheet, and I know it is that they'll put little boxes in the corners so that you know that it's a rectangle or a square. Okay? So you'll know that. They do that on the worksheet better than I did there. Okay? So how do you find the area of a base of a rectangle? Length times width. So in this particular problem, when we do big B times h divided by 3, big B is going to be 5 times 3. What's the height of the object? 8. And divide the whole thing by 3. So then for me, to find my answer, I'm going to take 5 times 3 times 8 and divide it by 3. And what number spits out? 40. Somethings, right? Cubed. Whatever the measurement would be, cubed. What do you guys think? Okay, again, on the pyramid, the base could be different. Because if it's like a pentagon or an hexagon, good Lord. Hexagon or octagon, you have to use the AP divided by 2 if it's that type of base. Okay? Do you want me to do another one? No? You guys good? Okay.